So the crypto market is breaking down from a bearish pattern. This is what we've been worrying about over the last couple of days. I've made clear in my last few videos that we were forming a consolidation pattern and I wasn't getting too excited. The market was starting to feel confident that we're sitting at $30,000, but now we're sitting at $29,200, which in and of itself is not too bad, right? We've been hovering around these levels, but I'm going to show you where we could be heading to the downside, and this is something I've been predicting based on technical analysis and on chain. We've also had Kwon come out and give us an update, which we're going to go through as well, because he's trying to push on with this critical fork, which he's trying to push through today over the next couple of hours. Make sure you hit up the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, if you like my perspective, check out the course member live streams, Ijaz.uk/member, to have that helping hand in a community to build your portfolio, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and much more. This is the pattern we've been monitoring, guys. You can see here I'm sat on the hourly chart, and if I just zoom out just to give you a bit of context around where we're sat right now, this is a bear flag, right? When you zoom out to the 4-hourly, it's far clearer that you've entered this pattern with the bears in huge control. And if I bring out the EMA ribbon, you will see that's all it is, right? This consolidation pattern has just been getting rejected by our EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon is acting as the bearish pressure pushing us down. We've not at any point flipped this on the 4-hourly chart, let alone the daily chart, to suggest we can start a move back to the upside. Remember, the key level is the 31,000. That's the neckline of this pattern. We had a brief fake out in this period here, and we got sent straight back into the pattern. And since then, we've not managed to mount an attack back to 31,000. That is what gave me the clues that we could be heading for more downside to the bottom, and that is something I've been speaking about for the last couple of days with our course members. We had a live stream yesterday night, and I said the same thing to everybody: hold your horses, we could be heading for some more downside. And you can see that happening now. We're breaking down from this pattern, and it looks like unless we get a retest and go back up in, we could be heading to the bottom of this pattern, which is 26,200. Now, technically, if you take the wick into account, which was the crazy wick from that crazy day, you could be heading to the bottom of this candle, which sits as low as 25,300-ish, I believe it was. Yep, 25,300 at the bottom of that candle. So that is what I'm looking out for. And the closer we get to that point, I'm going to continue to nibble on some of my favorite plays. Remember, I've got a clear portfolio of what I want to add, and I'm going to add in sensible layers. I'm not going to get too crazy on altcoins. Right now, you've got Fantom down 4%. You've got 3.7% down on Bitcoin. And you've got some other coins really down. ADA down 7%, 9% on Solana. So Fantom is holding up pretty well today. And until the market turned red, was actually outperforming Bitcoin. So we can see this breakdown happening, and I'm preparing and I'm nibbling on my way. The closer we get down to the bottom of the wedge, the bigger my nibbles will be. Now, I've made an interesting thread suggesting that 24,000 could be our bottom. That doesn't mean we're going to hit 24,000 exactly, but that's what gave me the confidence that we're not going to sit at 30. I feel like we're still going to come into this range here. Might not exactly be 24, but this range here. So head over to my Twitter and go read this thread. Hit a retweet button on there as well, because I look at some interesting on-chain metrics to really explain why I think that could be a critical bottom for us. I've also done a video version of that yesterday, so go watch that video from yesterday. It's on the Jerome Powell video from last night. Now, moving on, we've got an update here from Kwon, who shamelessly is trying to push on with this fork, which nobody wants. Everybody, it's even trending, is saying burn Luna, and they don't agree with this fork. The only people that agree with this fork are this Terra Builder Alliance, all who have interest in the project. Why? Because if you go read the sneaky update, I made a separate video about this earlier on today. Go watch it. I go through this whole proposal where last minute, in the last few hours, they're sneaking updates set up by these project leaders here who have got together and said, oh, we're going to be this, Terra Builders Alliance because, nobody trusts Kwon, let them trust us. But all of these guys are part of the developer mining program. And guess what? They've allocated themselves 10% of the supply with little care for the rest of the community, right? Also, there's still a over priority on people who buy Luna and UST now. They're going to get 15% unlocked at the launch of this fork, whereas those who are holding Luna, who were loyal long ago, will have to wait a year, and then even then it's a 2-year vesting thereafter. So this is crazy. Do check that out. That's going to be going for vote. If you're part of the governance, obviously have your say on there as well. But just shameless from Kwon to continue to do that. There's been some other interesting updates with Kwon. If you head over to my Twitter, you will see I regularly tweet / retweet these updates. We had some interesting updates from Watcher Guru, who said South Korean law firm LKB will reportedly file a court application to seize the property of Terraform CEO Do Kwon. South Korean law firm LKB will reportedly sue Do Kwon on behalf of investors who lost money in the UST crash. I'm not sure what they're going to sue for unless he makes some money with his new project. I'm assuming he's skint now as well, or is he? We've also got the DAI depegging, right? DAI, which is the stable coin on the Deuce network, is depegging as well. That's something I might make a separate video on if it becomes even more of an issue. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see a separate video explaining what is going on with DAI. But again, this dates back to the fact that we know there is instability in the stable coin market. If I show you this, and again, we went through this interesting slide yesterday, this is what's going on with stable coins, right? We've got this crazy situation here. Shout out to Glassnode for providing these charts. Got this interesting situation where there's a lack of trust in stablecoins right now, and people are moving their stablecoins as best as possible. You're seeing a bunch of, this is when UST started to depeg. You then saw Tether had its crazy depeg. In this situation here, you saw a bunch of money going into USDC because people think USDC is a safer coin than Tether. You're seeing some going to BUSD and DAI and other alternatives. And again, like I said, look, stable coins are a necessary evil at times. But you just need to be focused on not sitting on crazy amounts of UST. I know some people who have lost millions, half their net worth, because it was sat there in UST. Crazy. You should not be sat on any crazy amounts of stable coins. Yeah, it's not. I mean, some of these stable coins, like we've seen with Luna, have bad setups and it's dangerous. So get into your crypto, get back out into your fiat. Unfortunately, stable coins aren't as stable as we think they are at this point. When things settle down and if the market's a bit more confident, then fine. But right now, when you've got Bitcoin trying to create a bottom, any shake or panic, like we saw 7 billion outflow here from Tether, right? That is 10% of their market cap. Yes, they can cover that, but what about the next 10%? What if another 8 billion now panicked thereafter? Soon, these companies start to crack because guess what? The reality is if you check their audits, they don't sit there on loads of cash. They go and invest the money you're giving them in risky assets, illiquid assets, which makes it difficult for them to get. That's the reality of it. And we don't even know how many times they've relent to your money. So we don't know how much money there actually is. This is part of the challenge with stablecoins, which is why the US and the governments will, rightfully in my opinion, regulate it. Nobody can say otherwise. We've asked for this upon ourselves, right? The people who have been operating these stable coins have proven that they're not capable of doing it in a transparent, fair way. And therefore, that's where the government steps in. I think rightly so. You've brought it upon yourself. Fear and greed index sitting at 12. I believe this will be lower. This was taken when we were sitting at 30,000. Now that we're breaking down from that pattern, we're probably heading back to 11, 10 score. Now, the important thing for us here is, can we hold this bottom on this pivot point, right? Whenever you're breaking down from a pattern, you want to look to the pivot points to the left. Will we now fall lower than this pivot point, which is sitting at about 29,200 where we're at? You can see a little bit of support coming in here. That's that level. Thereafter, you want to then see the next pivot point, which sits at about 28,700, and then we can worry about heading towards 26,300. So we'll take each one step by step, but longer term, this looks like we could be heading to the bottom of our wedge. If and unless we can start building some support, get back above 30. Remember, I'm not going to be happy until we start getting towards 32. At that point, I can say, okay, maybe we're not going to go to 24. Until then, if we continue to trade in this range, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to the bears, because the bears are in control. They have been for a while, and they've got strength in this market. To add to that pressure, you've got the equities market, which continued to bleed red, right? They had a good green day the other day, but now you've got the Dow Jones down now, trading down 1.3% on the Dow. That is some important blue chip companies in there. Target was down 25% today. 25%. It's the biggest in its history after missing earnings and also citing high fuel costs and labor costs. Walmart did the same thing a couple of days ago and got hit too. That is why we're seeing some serious blue chip companies down 1.3%, S&P down 1.6%, and the NASDAQ 1.63%. So, this continues. You've got the Russia-Ukraine fish continue to be there. Still got the COVID lockdown issues in China putting pressure on supply chain. And Jerome Powell said that yesterday, right? He said yesterday he will continue to do what he needs to do until he sees inflation get under control. And unfortunately, when we hear of rising costs, like we see in this title here, rising costs, we're hearing Walmart, we're hearing Target, and these companies say fuel costs are still going up, labor costs are still going up. That means inflation still seems to be there in the economy, which means we need to crack on with our interest rate hikes and just get on with it. We just need to get on with it because the economy is healthy and you can see that through the inflation. Just get that down. Now, obviously, interest rates can only deal with demand side. Supply chain shocks will need to resolve themselves as well over time. But hopefully those things are transitory, right? Hopefully the COVID issue gets under control in China and that supply comes back online. Hopefully we can start to come towards some sort of a normalization in the tensions, and that could help inflation as well. Right, so there you have it, guys. Breaking down from a critical pattern on crypto. A lot going on in the markets, which we need to stay in tune of. Hopefully, 24K is our bottom. Well, the on-chain indicators are suggesting that's the kind of level we could be getting. Maybe we don't get it exactly, but if we do head towards there, I certainly will be nibbling. And if you want to learn more about what I'm doing in the markets, consider joining the course member live streams, ijaz.uk/member. If you like this video, smash up the likes and subscribe. What I'm going to do now is link up to the video of Kwon. Yes, Kwon, with his sneaky changes at the last minute to the Terra 4. Go watch that to understand exactly what it means if you're holding Luna or UST, or even if you're not. You need to stay tuned to understand how these projects do what they do. Hope you enjoyed this video. Smash up the likes and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.